If you're starting out as a miner in Star Citizen, this is the video for you. I will be using a Drake Golem, which is a mining starter ship, to show you how to get off, how to find potential prospects and make some space cheddar and look slick while doing so. Now this is a no frills guide, so that means I will be skipping a lot of options. It will be step by step, but it will be showing you first how to make your first space box. Now you wake up in your starting area and you want to press and hold Y until you wake up. You can look at yourself by pressing I for inventory if you need something, but at the moment, or you can go to this terminal and press F to equip if you have some equipment. But to do this, for the purpose of this guide, you really don't need anything. So as you start, you can immediately go to the exit, and my recommendation is that you start in the Stanton system in the new Babbage. Reason being because it is on an icy planet of Microtech, which actually has a lot of cool mining locations, and it really looks cool and has a very cool refinery, which was going to be important later on. Now this is the city of New Babbage, and our first order du jour will be to come down, maybe get some equipment, and also go to the spaceport where our trusty Drake Golem will be waiting. Now, if you just recently acquired it and haven't played Star Citizen before, this is kind of, everything is tactile. You have to hold F and click on the panel to go down. It's really important to go down. Now, when you're walking, you have the standard WASD control. You can switch to third person pressing the F4. And also pay attention to this Kelto. A lot of people miss it and they go to the area known as Commons to buy goods. But then again, for the basic equipment, you can actually go just to this little shop where it says Kelto, and you can get yourself started with minimum amount of cash, and it's good enough. So the first things that I recommend that you do buy, it's a pyro multi-tool, not with a mining attachment, but with a true hole tractor beam attachment. Now, as of this release, which is 4.1.1, for some reason it appeared that this one was bugged for me. Ultimately, you don't need it unless you plan on refining the minerals that you'll do. But a good tip would be to buy some food. And I just go typically to this kiosk, and in my opinion, I'm obviously not a starter, so I do buy a full-on armor, but you technically don't need it. And here is actually quite inexpensive light armor that you could get for roughly 5,000-6,000 AUEC. I mean, it's a lot if you're just starting out, but to be able to carry a backpack, you need at least the core. So you don't need all of the components. Now, I want to purchase a rifle just in case I need to defend myself, but for the purposes of this guide, we're gonna be mining in the area where nobody actually gives a rat's ass about it, so you shouldn't be worried too much about it. If you want, I would recommend that you buy some foods. I'm just buying here willy-nilly some citrus beef burritos and some Vestal water. Vestal water is quite good, it helps to fight hydration. In the Drake Golem, which is specifically a ship that doesn't have an interior, it might not play a role. But if you bought any equipment, you can actually equip it to your character by going to this terminal and just dragging and dropping on your character all the components that you need. For the purposes of this tutorial, I decided to accelerate it because it's really not crucial for the main stuff. So if you want, you can do it, but also it depends on the deepness of your pockets. If you're starting with 20k, might be doable. If you're starting with 5, I wouldn't recommend it. You can earn money quite quickly, and Stanton is usually pretty safe, especially if you're going around the areas where I'm going to be showing you. There's very few people, and you can still make some decent space bucks. Now, Brentworth is the area where you might be respawning in if you die, but we're going to go to the empty metro loop, where actually we need to get to the spaceport. Now, in Star Citizen is really focusing on realism, meaning you really have to take the metro to get to the actual spaceport. Now, holding shift is going to make you sprint, and for the purposes of this video, I have cut out a lot of things. Now, If you press the Alt H, it will take off your helmet, and I did this so that I could actually drink some water, because bottom left says that my hydration is 86%. Now with the Drake Golem you cannot really drink while you're in the ship because the ship doesn't have interior, so it's a good idea to drink beforehand. Now pressing Alt H has again put my helmet, as you can tell by the camera here, and train will be arriving through the magic of video editing, yes, and it's departing quite quickly. This one is ultimately gonna go all the way to the spaceport, which is kind of cool. It's this like large building that you see in the background. You can actually sit by pressing F next to the chair. Just remember that you do get up and don't miss the exit once you arrive at the station. Yeah, so the new Babbage Interstellar Spaceport is to the right. If you just follow the signs, you will easily find your way. You really do have to pay attention to the signs. And on the top left corner there is a minimap. Now you call the elevator by pressing F, and also once the elevator comes, what you do want to do, you do want to go inside, and you want to go circle around and hold F while you click on the NBIS Metro loop. Yeah, that's the thing. Now, once we go up, it's an NBIS terminal, means the new Babbage Interstellar Spaceport. So we go here and you have to pass through customs. This don't serve any purpose at the moment, but in the future there might be a customs check and all that kind of stuff. Now, if you just run past it, you are going to come and be greeted with this beautiful view of the new Babbage. And also going to the left-hand side, you can actually go to your fleet manager. I have lots of ships, but you want to find your Drake Golem. And if it's not deliverable, it's first going to say deliver and then retrieve. You have to wait until this tells you where it's going to be, and it's going to be in your small hangar. Mine is obviously in the Gromfork small hangar. So you come to the elevators, you once again press F, and once you come in, it's going to give you an option to select the Gromfork small hangar. Well, it's going to give you to select your small hangar, obviously not Gromfork's, because otherwise you're going to come to my hangar, and if you're not in my org or friend list, you're going to be shot on sight. Yeah, I'm that hostile. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really friendly. But your Drake Golem will be actually parked here, and Drake Golem is a really small mining ship. However, I consider it with like 2 containers of ore, with an extraction arm and a cockpit wrapped around it. So basically it's nothing more than that. But it looks slick, it looks cool. It looks like something it has been put up from like pieces of garbage, honestly. I love it. Anyway, you press the hatch and you're gonna be entering inside. Now, coming inside, that means it's gonna be picking up to the cockpit. I think Alt-R, we're gonna put the ship into the flight ready state. Now, my controls might differ, so I'm gonna be posting on the screen which are the key presses, but I think Alt-R is to get the ship flight ready. I'm using the dual VKB joysticks, which is sort of like a HOSAS, hands-on stick and stick. I'm gonna link in the video description if you want to check them out. They're really awesome. Now, then you want to be pressing N, I think, or Alt N for the hangar request, and then it's gonna be opening up the hangar bay door. Now it's all about going upwards and thrusting a little bit forward to get outside of this hangar. And we're going quite slowly for the moment because the landing gear is still down. The landing gear needs to be raised using the key press that is going to be shown on the screen, and then we go upwards. And there is a spaceport just above the new Babbage, which is called Port Tressler. Now, typically, when I go up, I usually set that as my respawn point. As you can see in my other guides, the non-miner guides, how to just get started in Star Citizen. So I'm not gonna repeat it here. But here the focus will be mainly to go to the nearest point where we can actually do some mining, and then we're gonna do the mining, and then we're gonna try to sell the ores. Now, when you gather some ores, there are two options. You can either sell it for small profit, raw ores, to the refinery site, or you can just refine them and then bring them over planet side to the trade and division department for roughly double the profits. We're gonna get into this later, and if you see my head wandering around, I'm using the Tobii eye tracker, which is currently on sale until the 5th of June, and I have a link in the pinned comment that will take you to the deal, and you will be also supporting my channel. Now, Tobii eye tracker is a fantastic piece of kit. I really love it, and it helps a lot with immersion. It allows your head tracking to track freely in the cockpit, irrespective of everything else. Now, we have powered our quantum drive, and we are going to the first orbital marker, and then we're gonna be going to the moon of Calliope. Now, if you notice the star map, I pressed F2 and I selected the destination and then just enabled my quantum drive, and I'm getting there. Now, it's really close, so my goal is to be mining on the sunlight. So when selecting a location, I go OM1. This is the orbital marker, which is straight above the North Pole. Pressing a mouse click while being in the nav mode will activate the quantum drive marker, and then I just randomly select a place that's in the sunlight, for example this Shubin mining facility or Regiment Downs. I'm gonna go for the Shubin mining facility, but I'm not going all the way. That's one thing that you want to know. So once I start going towards it, I want to make sure that I'm halfway there, and then I'm gonna be aborting the jump, which is I think also pressing the left mouse click in the case, or just swapping to the pressing the middle mouse button to swap to the SCM mode. The reason why I'm doing this because I want to be quite far from any orbital marker or any potential player location where they might be. So if I'm going in the middle of nowhere, nobody will bother to look for me, and I might have a just nice quiet time mining and minding my own business. Now, on the top in the center to the right, you will see the nav FLT. That means that I'm currently in the nav mode, which means I can go quite fast. I can go 1 kilometer per second, as you can see by the G-force effects, which means floor is coming down pretty fast. Now, there is a trick for reducing the speed. You just switch to the SCM mode, which I just did. And that means that I have made sure once you see the ladder to the right side of your HUD, it's going down, meaning that you're getting closer to the ground. Now, coming closer to the ground means that soon enough we're gonna want to switch to the SCN mode for the scanning mode, which you're doing the pressing V, and then pressing the tab will emit a pulse, as you saw, like a pulse, and then it says unknown 6.6 kilometers. Now above it in the middle it says 10,800, which means to me that these are some sort of ores. So I'm gonna get closer and investigate what they are and if they are feasible. Now when you're just beginning, you might not actually care. All you need to care, are they ores or are they gemstones? Gemstones are a different gameplay loop, and for them you need like vehicle like a rock miner or a golem, and in that case you might need specific mining equipment, but for mining using the ships you want to be doing ores. And for example, Atacamite, to me this tells that these are the regular ores, and I'm just gonna come and fly close to them, and once I'm close I'm gonna be pressing the M key. M key will activate the mining mode and it will allow me to scan everything much closer. Now you will notice when I come closer that on the left panel I've activated the VTOL thrusters, which in Drake Golem is quite good because it allows me to hover. Now for the time being it's not really that important but when atmospheric flight comes it's gonna become increasingly more important. So I'm close now, and now when I press M I'm activating the mining mode, and now it starts scanning the rock automatically. And once it scans it, to the right hand side above the lock and target is going to say the composition. 20% gold, corundum and inert materials, but the difficulty level is impossible. It's too big of a deposit. So that means I cannot use my Drake Golem to, break it. Let's check the second one. it's also impossible. Okay, let's check some of the smaller stones. What does it say? If we come closer, we're gonna say, is it doable? Yeah, this one is easy. Cool. Then we're gonna be attacking that one. So you'll first want to actually go and scan all of the rocks that are in vicinity, because who knows, we might find rocks that contain corundum, but also higher percentages of it, and also gold. There we go. 25% gold ore and 67% corundum. Inert materials are very low, so that might be a great rock to go break and actually scoop. So we're going to be focusing on that one. And also, some rocks just might be already fractured and ready for scooping. For example, this one. We just switched over to the scoop mode and we went to the extraction when we picked it up. This can be done by switching the mode to the extraction and then collecting it. So let's go back to the one where we had gold. Okay, so that's the corundum gold. We already scooped that one. So we're going to be going and we're going to be fracturing this one. As you can tell, I'm closing in, indicated by the top left. We are within the optimal range, and right now when we are already drilling, I'm going to be increasing the charge level, and I'm going to be using my joysticks, one of the axes. However, for you it's using the middle mouse button. If you scroll it up, it's going to be more power, and as you can tell, I'm increasing the laser percentage in the lower right corner, and we're trying to get it into the yellowish optimal zone without going into the overcharged red zone, because that would be really bad for the health of the rock and the health of you and your ship. Because if you overcharge it by much, the rock might blow up, taking all of the variable materials, including your ship, with it. So you have to be really careful not to do that. And as long as you can hold the optimal charge, and there we go, the rock, it's filling up the charge, and soon enough the rock is gonna crack. There we go, and then the arrow just below the fracture mode says that this one is ripe for extraction. So we're just trying to find which one contains the gold, because right now, for example, this one is 100% inert materials. So we do want to rescan and scoop only the stuff that's valuable, and here's me collecting inert materials like a total noob. But then again, if you want to be scooping stuff, you can. For example, 100% raw corundum, that's 3 SCU of just pure value, so we might want to be scooping that one as well. So we're going to be scooping all of those. I'm just basically trying to see which one contains the gold, because we have to rescan them, obviously. Corundum. So this is nice, because 100% corundum, we get a decent charge for that. Obviously, I would prefer to have someone that has also gold inside. So if I manage to find corundum with the inert materials, can we find one with the gold, please? I just did crack the one that contains some gold, so come on, talk to me here. That's the idea. When the rock breaks into multiple pieces, you want to be going in and checking up which ones you can scoop. So this one we're gonna need to break again. Corundum raw, this is scoopable, and this one is inert materials. Okay. Well, that one I ain't just too perfect. Okay, we're gonna go for the scooping now. There is additional rock that I haven't scanned. Let's see if this one contains any gold. 100% corundum raw. Tell you what, I'm gonna be scooping, well, some of them. So let's just go and scoop whatever we can find, and as soon as we are done, we're gonna be going and flying back. Now, the purpose of this tutorial for me is just to show you how to scoop up files, and ultimately, might not be a great yield, but it is what it is. I'm just showing you how to scoop some. And right now, this is 100% raw corundum, which is great because I think corundum actually yields a decent price. And at the time of this recording, I didn't know that. So this is post ground fork stalking. So right now, I'm just trying to see if I can find gold when actually corundum here is gold, kinda. So we are just scooping up and making sure that we can just scoop up these rocks. And look at this, my corundum is growing, and I wish I could have dumped the inert materials, because that's really not the stuff that I should be picking up. But it is what it is. Okay, there we go. We have a full 32 SCU. We're gonna be switching to the SCM mode, and we're gonna go to the refinery. Now, there is an excellent refinery situated at Microtech L2, which contains also the you can sell the ores there, and you can also refine them, so depending on what you actually want to do. So we're gonna be going straight for that one. We first have to fly out of the atmosphere, obviously, and we're gonna do that as long as I can rank up my speed. And let's just go take a look at this beautiful screenshot. While we're looking at, we're gonna take a little bit message of the today's sponsor. And it's sponsored by myself. If you want to know how to be more productive, do check my YouTube template, which I'm using to communicate and which I'm using to build multiple videos at the same time, publish them on 3 different channels, and be very productive while doing so. So if that sounds interesting, check out the link in the video description below. Now back to the video. Alright, so at the moment Microtech Long Station is obstructed, so what I want to do, I want to just make sure that I refly there. Let me see, I press F2 to get to the orbital map. I obviously need to go through an orbital marker, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure that I reselect the route to the mining facility. So I've put any other facility like Shubin mining facility, I don't care. Then we're gonna go out of the atmosphere just to make sure that our quantum drive engages, and the moment it engages, we're gonna go and we're gonna repoint ourselves back. So F2, we're gonna put in the search locations Microtech L2, and it's immediately selected, right? Route there, and that's it. So with the power drive being on, we're gonna go to the orbital marker 1 or OM1. It's calibrating, and when it's done, a mouse click and we are there. Now, cool, now we're no longer obstructed, so we're gonna go to the Microtech L2 Long Forest Station, where we will be hopefully selling our ores for profit. I'm gonna do a brief comparison towards the end of the video, how much you can earn while selling the ores versus actually delivering. Remember, refining and delivering does yield a lot higher profits. However, it requires you loading boxes, unloading boxes, and a lot more fiddling. However, it is more profitable if you're doing these in bulk. Obviously, you're not going to do it on a 1-by-1 flight basis, just, you know, one scoop and then do it. The ideal case is you mine multiple times, you refine a lot of ore, then you hire a transport ship, and then you do it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. For the time being, we're gonna just go to Mike L2 Long Forest Station, and then we're gonna be making sure that we sell our stuff. So we are coming in hot, and once we arrive, we are on the trespassing on private property. This, I've been told, is a bug. So I've got terrified. I thought that I'm being hostile to them. Somebody's gonna open fire. So I clearly wanted to turn around, tuck tail, and run. But when people told me like this is a bug, then I got a little bit more courageous, came and requested the hangar docking, and as you can see, ground fork small hangar is there, meaning I'm gonna go and park my Drake Golem over there. Let's go from the outside. There we go. Turn my ship. It's beautiful. I just really love the stations, and using my dual VKBs makes flying so easy. The translations and everything. Now, people usually ask me which HOTAS I'm using, and as I said, I'm using HOSAS, so hands on stick and stick. It allows me the 6 degrees of freedom while flying, and I think it's just amazing. Now, entering the small hangar, we're gonna be deploying the landing gear, making sure that we don't ram into anything, and let's just land this thing. There we go. One important thing to note, double tapping the engines will stop the engines, and there we go. So once again, we're getting this closed. Now I want to draw your attention to going to the landing page of your mobiGlas and pressing the repair and refuel, so that your Drake Golem will be ready to fight another day. Now, speaking of that, we are right in the middle of it. There we go, beautiful picture, and we're gonna go and we're gonna be selling our stuff at the refinery. So first things first, before we do any of that, we want to store our Drake Golem into the station's, well, inventory, kinda. There we go, store. Moving to storage. Thank you, bye-bye, the little ship that could. You will net me a decent amount of cash. Well, clearly, I haven't picked up my minables, so I wasn't min-maxing, and that's not the purpose of this video. So for all of you guys, min-maxers, who are like, oh, Grumpworks, you just made a tiny amount of cash, you should have made much more. True, but I wasn't picking my ores, and since I'm also getting into this, and so I'm playing also as a pretty new guy to mining. I've been doing a lot of salvaging, a lot of missions, but mining is a completely new gameplay loop. Whether you believe it or not, this was actually my first mining run. Yeah, interesting, right? I've been mining things with rock, which are actually, you know, gemstones, but mining with a ship, nope, that's the first one. So as you can tell, I'm also stumbling and trying to find where the refinery is. However, the refinery, if we go down, it should be further down this corridor. So let's quickly check. And as far as I can tell, on the right hand side there will be a shop with mining equipment, which is right in front of us. But let's go up, because up here there might be refinery things. So as you can see, refinement and processing is to the right, and to the left is the ore sales. So the moment we're just gonna be selling everything that we have. And as you can tell, we're selling for 9,000 AUEC. I'm guessing that's a lot less than we could have, but then again, I don't care. It's cool, we're gonna be selling it and we're gonna earn some cash. I'm pretty sure I could have easily earned 20k from this. Okay, anyway, 9,000. Cha-ching! So this is how you earn the cash to be able to hire a ship that will net you transfers. So let's go. I had a second run just now off camera, and the value of these ores that I could sell is 7,159 AUEC. Now, I'm not going to be selling them, and the purposes of this demonstration is to show you guys how you can earn more cash. It's corundum, it's inert materials, and it's hephaestonite. Like I said, not too much, it's just 50%, but if we go to the refinement center, what we're gonna do, we go begin, and this is actually my first refinement, so pay attention. You select the Drake Golem, and you want to set up a work order. Current capacity, yeah, it's way over capacitated. Baxelite, corundum, contanium, gold, and all that stuff. Let's see, select an option. Now at this point there are lots of different setups, and I'm not sure which I want to use. I want to use the one that has actually high yield. So I'm going to be processing the corundum and hephaestonite, and well, obviously the agricium, but high speed, not Cormac, parametric chroma analysis. I think there's a ferron exchange that's kind of popular. Low speed, moderate cost, high yield. Okay, that sounds reasonable to me. And if I get a quote, it's basically 896, and it's gonna be refining quite a amount. But then it warned me that I forgot to actually put agricium also, so I've decided to get a quote for agricium. It's 1000 AUEC, but then again, it will give us a lot more cash. Work order is accepted, and that means it's gonna take 8 hours roughly. So the next day when I woke up, I went straight to the refinery to figure out just how much cha-ching are we gonna make. And this is gonna be highly cut part of the video, because what you do is you go up, you pick up the refinement, 1 completed work orders, beautiful. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and put this into the Microtech L2 Long Forest station. There we go, let's collect it. Yes, please. Work order delivered. Beautiful. Now, the goal is to take my cargo ship, which is the Cutty Black, which I actually own, but you can also rent it. park near to the freight elevator, bring up everything with the freight elevator, and you can actually load all these crates to your ship. So while you will be earning a lot more cash, it does require a lot more manual fiddling. Truth be told, it's probably worth it when you have more. For this small order, which I'm just using for the purposes of this demonstration, it's probably not gonna be worth it all the time and effort, because I could be making more money by going on another run. However, I think it's actually valuable to show you how you can then stack a lot more boxes, and if you have a decent ship, you could transport a lot more. So all in all, this is also a little bit of the cargo gameplay, which I think actually is quite fun. And for that, you can see that I'm using the max lift tractor beam, which is actually quite pricey on its own right. So that's another reason for me not showing you for initial loop. Once you loaded your goods, you basically go out of your ship and you want to go to the TDD, or Trade Division Department, which is always in the part of the biggest landing zones. In this case, it would be the New Babbage, which is on Microtech. So that's not at all that far. So once we just go and arrive to the Microtech, we get into the, area, we get to the spaceport, international spaceport, and we land. And then I don't know if you can actually directly from the ship offload it, but I actually manually offloaded everything into the cargo elevator. And in the commons area, there is this big area called TDD. And once you get there, it will give you a chance to sell your ores. Now, let's just observe how much money we're gonna get. Remember, we were supposed to get 7.1 thousand, and we invested 1. So everything we earn will be reduced by 1. We have 211,000. So if we just go to New Babbage, we're gonna say max. We want to sell everything, all the corundum. Well, see, that's already 9,000, or actually almost 10. Cool. So let's say that's 10,000 and minus 1,000 for processing. So we earned 9,000. Another 2.5. So that would be 11,000 earned, and then 5 would be 16,000 earned net. So roughly your turnover is about 2 times. Well, guys, I hope you liked today's episode. If you did like it and appreciate it, then do check out this next guide, how to begin your life in, Star Citizen in general, or you can check out some other videos that I will be having selected for you. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you in the next one.